Nigerian politician has come out to say the truth about Nigeria. During a podcast, he said Nigerians do not have oil, that they are only bragging about this oil, but they do not have oil. And he compared Nigeria to Ghana. He said there is no way Nigeria is bigger than Ghana in terms of oil. Guys, let's watch the video together. Please don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel.
Nigeria is not an oil-rich country. We are an oil-poor country. We are an oil-poor country. Ghana, in terms of per capita wealth from oil, Ghana is wealthier than us. Listen to this now. Ghana has 200,000 barrels per day. What is our population? Divide their population by the barrels that they give. That means that there is more. It's going to give you maybe about $200 for each citizen. When you divide Nigeria's population by our barrels per day, we get $150 per citizen. That is poverty. Look, Qatar, a tiny nation that their population is not up to a Qatar local government. They make $70 billion from oil and gas. How much do we make? We make 36 billion. And then you want to Saudi Arabia, with a population about their population is probably 35 million, so which is just going to be about maybe 15% of ours. They make about $450 billion every year. We make 36 billion. Angola is more oil rich than us. In terms of, if you look at the nations that have mineral resources, you know, Nigerians, entitlement mentality. Check, Nigeria is not in the top 10. Even in Africa, we're not in the top 5. Congo, DRC, they have more nutrients and more mineral resources than we have. So stop saying that's opinion. People like you are feeding the people wrong opinion. Nigeria is not living beyond. Nigeria is not living at our means. We are living beyond our means. That's why that had to.
A lot of Nigerians actually should know this guy, Reno Omokri. Reno Omokri is always against, like, talking about government that he doesn't like, and he has exposed the real giants of Africa. And to all Nigerians that are going about saying Nigeria is a giant of Africa, we have more oil than Ghana, Charlie, come here. Come and sit down. Have you seen this video? I'm going to be sharing some other videos for you guys to watch and hear the analysis of Ghanaians, like concrete, full evidence that Ghana isn't anybody's mate.
In 2008, there was the grand economic crisis that I didn't know. I was 8 years old, and I felt good in 2008 for me. But apparently there was a whole economic crisis going on in the background, and every country suffered loss to some extent. But the worst case scenario for the Ghanaian city was in 2020, actually. In 2020, actually, they did really well. In 2022, they went all the way down. And after that, they have been climbing up very steeply, which is how they got here today in 2025. So I'm going to try and create this timeline in a very nice way. 1965, they changed the name from pound to cedi. 1970s, 1980s, they get hyperinflation. That was mostly due to debt. They were borrowing a lot of money because the budget they had for their country wasn't matching up with the revenue they were bringing in. So after that, the economy wasn't doing too well, it was going down. 2007, they were like, we're going to cancel the zeros from our money. That's redenomination. 2008, the economic crisis.
Guys, let's look at it in this way. When we compare these two countries together, you could see from this very first video that I shared, Reno Omokri was talking about how Nigeria has been the giant of crude oil. They have crude oil, they have everything, but still yet the GDP per capita of this crude oil is very low. That the amount they get from this crude oil is nothing to write home about. And the other side is a Ghanaian that was analyzing the economy of Ghana. He talked about how the Ghana economy was from 2021, 2022, and now present day 2025. You could see that from 2021, 2022, 2023, the economy wasn't so stable till it skyrocketed to 2025. And it is now on a stable phase. And look at Nigeria on the other hand, that is meant to be, advancing, that is meant to be growing, is going backward. And this particular Nigerian politician, Reno Omokri, used some other countries like Qatar. He used Congo, and he also used Ghana as an emphasis, stating the fact that Nigeria does not have crude oil. Because if Nigeria actually have crude oil, that they'll be making more money per barrel. They'll be making more money from this crude oil and not going backward. Instead, countries like Qatar, countries like Ghana is way ahead of them. So this draws me back to saying that Nigeria, so all the money that you are getting from crude oil, all the investment into crude oil, all the things you'll be making out, we are the giant of Africa, where they did result to. Is it that Nigeria is not moving forward? Is it moving backward or is it moving forward? I want to know. Because as a country that is well known for crude oil, At this point, it should be booming. Amount they get from this crude oil should be much than any other country, because Nigeria is known as the giant of Africa, as they say, and with a lot of crude oils. So what happens to not making more money from this crude oil? And countries that do not have this particular crude oil, Qatar, Congo, is making more money. And Ghana also have their own crude, making more money than Nigeria. So look at the two countries, balance the two countries, and tell me which country is doing well economically, and comment down below the comment section. So we don't come here and argue some talk things blindly and say, oh, Nigeria is way bigger than Ghana. Ghana is a small country. You cannot compare Nigeria. Oh, spare me all those things. What we are looking at is the GDP, the PPP of a country. We are not looking at the size. Population doesn't really mean the country is doing well. There are countries that are well populated, but they don't have resources. There are countries that are well populated, but they don't have money. There is nothing that is generating them income. It is still not enough for them. But there are still some countries that have this, and they are doing absolutely amazing compared to countries that are way too big. I'm going to be playing a video for you guys to see. Just watch this video to the end. And please don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel.
When was crude oil found in Nigeria? Oil was discovered in Oloibiri in Nigeria's Bayelsa State in 1956. So when did Nigeria start exporting crude oil? Production of crude oil began in 1957. So from 1957 till now, the government has been cashing out quietly from crude oil. But the citizens are just there. It's okay. Now, there was a report in February 2020 from DPRO that Nigeria's oil reserve will run dry in 49 years. Now, this report was done 4 years ago, meaning that 45 years from now, our crude oil reserve will dry up, right? Now, I want to ask the experts in oil and gas, is it really possible for our crude oil reserves to dry up? Is it possible? That's question one. Question two, with all the money we have made from crude oil, we the citizens will not feel it. We still don't have light. Our roads are bad. Our hospitals are all bad. If this oil can finish 45 years time, what is our fate as a country and as Nigerians living in this country? What do you call up at that time? That was the ask.
Do you know that Nigeria was once the third largest oil producer in the world? But here's the shocking part. Nigeria does not fully own its own oil. So who does? It's not Nigeria. It's companies like BP, Shell, and Exxon. Foreign corporations control majority of Nigeria's oil profits. But how did this happen? Let's rewind to the 1970s. Oil was booming and Nigeria was on its way to becoming a major player in global energy. But deals were made. Contracts were signed. Agreements that seemed great at the time but had hidden costs. Here is indeed where it gets even crazier. International institutions like the IMF, the World Bank, encouraged countries like Nigeria to open up their resources to foreign companies. Sounds harmless, yeah? But in reality, these policies meant that foreign oil giants got rich, while Nigeria got less control over its own wealth. So today, instead of Nigeria owning its oil outrightly, they get just a small share, just a little tiny fraction of the profits. And when we need oil for our own people, we have to buy it back from these companies. But that's not all either. Have you ever wondered why global wealth isn't based on gold anymore? It used to. Why is it that it is all about currencies today, especially the dollar? In the 1970s, the world moved away from gold standards. Now, countries with strong currencies, like the US, now this is instructive, have the financial powers that countries rich in resources can't match. That is the switch at that point. In other words, they took gold and resources and traded it for currency control. So instead of resources-rich nations holding the power, it's countries with strong economies and powerful currencies that hold power. That's pretty wild, right? Now, it will shock you more. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya saw this and he tried to reverse it with attempts to unite Africa with a single currency backed by gold. The American government saw this and they went after him and killed him. But they cannot kill Putin with his BRICS. That's right, this currency. This is designed to reduce the dominance of the dollar backed by debt on countries like Nigeria, so people will have financial freedom once again so that they can breathe. The BRICS currency is the game changer. That's right, guys, that's the game changer. Because for as long as any country uses the dollar for trade in anything, the chains of slavery will never be broken. So next time you fill your car tank up, remember, the story behind it. That oil goes way deeper than most of us realize. And it's still happening till this day. Is this fair? Let me
Jubilee Southeast project, which was started by the operators of Jubilee Field in 2022, and the first phase was completed this year, and where they draw about 5 wells of anticipated 11 wells. We expect that coming next year they will draw additional 6 wells, and hope that. And I said that once the Jubilee Southeast project is completed, we are going to add additional 32 million barrels of oil to Jubilee reserves. So once that is done, we expect the daily production to also increase. And also, the operators are also looking at the 10 enhancement project to also reserve the decline in the 10 fields and bring the production back on track as anticipated in the original plan of development.
You see that when we look at those two countries, you would know that in Nigeria, most of these oil producing companies are owned by private individuals. The government sell to them, and whenever the government is shortage of crude oil, they will buy from them, and when they are buying from them, it's quite expensive. And one other thing again is that the refineries they are going to use to refine this oil, the Nigerian government do not have the equipment, and that is the reason why Dangote refinery is now in charge of crude oil in Nigeria. When we talk about crude oil, so Nigerian government buys from Dangote and sell to the people. So we Nigerians buying this crude oil is quite expensive for us, even though we are the oil producing country, but we still buy at a very outrageous amount. So what is the point of being the #1 giant of Africa and the #1 when it comes to crude oil, and we the citizens of this country, is still expensive for us to buy? So what is the point? So look at the way Ghana government is trying to make sure that the amount they are getting from this oil is becoming higher yearly and not going backward. Meanwhile, the giant of Africa is going backward. We are not even getting enough from the crude oil, and we the citizens are buying this crude oil expensive. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe.